Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Bartkus, the director of the Ridgefield Historical Society, and I'd like to welcome you to the Scott House here at 4 Sunset Lane in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Today's date is Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. It's great to see all of you. The Ridgefield Historical Society is dedicated to preserving and sharing Ridgefield's historical, cultural, and architectural heritage from the indigenous people who lived here 10,000 years ago all the way up to the present day. And we invite everyone to get involved here by becoming members and volunteers of the Historical Society. Today's program, we're going to be talking about Ridgefield scrapbooks through time. And this is a very interesting topic. The Historical Society has a number of scrapbooks, and we're going to be looking at Helen Keeler's class scrapbook, as well as Grace Williams' scrapbook, and these really capture life here in Ridgefield in the 1940s and 50s, and they're filled with memorabilia from play programs to field trips, newspaper clippings, movie tickets, ration books, and more. And I hope that some of you maybe brought your scrapbooks that you've kept to share with us today as well. And scrapbooks are so significant because they're not only personal keepsakes, but they're also valuable historical documents that offer us rich insights into the lives, culture, and times of their creators. And we're fortunate to have Jack Sanders with us in attendance today. He has written over 10 books on Ridgefield's history and is here to provide great historical insight into the topic of discussion today. Before we get started, I would like to mention that one of our good friends and History Club attendees, Bob Cox, passed away recently, and he was just a great guy, and so many of us have known him throughout Ridgefield's history, and I'd like to have a moment of silence for him. He was just a really important person in the community, and such a good friend of the Historical Society, and he'll be greatly missed by all of us here. And we'd like to express our condolences to his family as well and friends. So for today's program, we are talking about scrapbooks, as I mentioned, and we have some scans of some of the scrapbooks from our collection on the TV screen here today. But before we started looking at those, I wanted to start the discussion with all of you, and I'd like to hear if any of you have ever kept a scrapbook, or has anyone in any of your families or friends kept scrapbooks. It's a phenomenon that has become popular at certain times throughout history, and I think there was a resurgence in recent years as people had more free time, especially during the pandemic, to spend on activities like this. Has anyone here ever kept a scrapbook? And if you have, could you tell us why you kept it and what types of things you saved, and what time in your life did you keep this scrap?
Yes, I have scrapbooks. I have one from each year of high school, which goes from my freshman year, 50, to my graduating year, 54. And very much like Helen, saving things like that. And I did bring 2 of them in. I kept scrapbooks of when my kids, when we were married, of all our wedding cards, and when my kids were born, all their birth cards, and they all smell very musty because they're kept down in my basement.
That's great, Pat. Now, what prompted you to start scrapbooking? Did you know someone that was creating scrapbooks, or?
I think that was just a sign of the times, because I'm a little after Helen, and that's what you did. You saved stuff. You didn't have any place else to store them, so you made scrapbooks. You saved a lot of junk.
Well, as historians, we love scrapbooks because they capture everyday life and things that nowadays have gone digital
Yes.
tickets and programs and invitations, or in recent decades, people would just throw those types of things away. So it's really special and important for us at the Historical Society that these scrapbooks exist, and they really do capture a moment in time. So that's wonderful that you've created scrapbooks, and you brought some of them with you today.
Yes.
So they're on the table in the other room. Everyone's encouraged to take a look at those. Has anyone else here ever made a scrapbook, or has anyone in your family created a scrapbook?
The closest thing to a scrapbook that I ever did was photographs. And putting them in photo albums, and especially my wife and I getting married and having a child, and we did that for many years, and just hadn't. I did stop. I just didn't continue it. I don't know why. So.
Well, now it's gone digital, so everybody's got their scrapbooks on their telephones, and that's where the tickets are, and that's where the invitations are. Did anyone do autograph books? That was a thing when I was in grade school. I think I still have one put away somewhere.
I do too. It smells musty. Because it's down in the basement.
So an autograph book, you have friends and family?
Friends, or if you went sometimes to a special show or something,
Right.
if you could get the stars or, an autograph. It was a big thing to get your classmates' autographs.
Yeah.
Too.
And think of something clever to write in the page that you got. Girl Scouts did it too. I think we, like when we went on camping things.
And Pete, like you mentioned, just the assembling of photo albums. I'm not sure how much that's taking place anymore, right? Because everyone is snapping pictures with their digital cameras and their phones. So even the printing and saving and labeling of photographs, I think, is very rare these days.
That is.
And there are no camera shops. You could go to CVS and Walgreens to print photos, but our friend, Corky Corker, doesn't have his photo shop on Main Street here in Ridgefield anymore, where you could go and develop your photos to stick in your photo albums and your scrapbooks. So it's definitely an evolving landscape. So Betsy was so kind to work with her interns and digitize some of the Historical Society's scrapbooks, and I thought we might be able to look at a few of them today and explore what's in their pages. I think the first one we're going to be looking at is Helen Keeler's scrapbook. Is that right, Betsy?
Yeah. Yes.
And we know a little bit about Helen Keeler. And she was a graduate of the class of 1947, so she attended Ridgefield High School. She was born in 1929, and for many years she worked at Bissell's Pharmacy here in Ridgefield, and then she became a Ridgefield school bus driver. She was the daughter of Edward and Mary Keeler, and they lived on Danbury Road, and she unfortunately passed away in 1987, and I believe she's buried in St. Mary's Cemetery. So that's a little bit of her biography. Did anyone here know Helen Keeler? Could you tell us a little bit about her?
She's a very pretty woman. Very pretty, very helpful at Bissell's. We all knew Helen. Yeah, she worked with Mrs. Leary. Yeah, and she had the two sisters.
Oh, what were her sisters' names?
Doris Ann.
Doris Ann and Margaret. Also known as Snuggles.
Oh, that's interesting because we've seen some notations in the scrapbook, Snuggles, and I wasn't sure who that was.
That was her sister.
Oh, so that was her sister.
Yeah.
That's great.
She was still called Snuggles when she was in her 70s.
Really? Do we know where that nickname came from?
She would answer the phone at the school board headquarters, and And I'd always say, "Hi, Snuggles," and she got a kick out of that.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I
Their
actually,
father, by the way, was a well-known and well-respected chauffeur.
oh,
And so if Helen became a school bus driver, that's probably not surprising. It was in her blood.
Yeah. That's
wow, that's pretty amazing. So, would her father be driving the wealthy estate owners around?
Yeah, yeah, and he was also an expert on cars. He was well known for his auto expertise.
Wow, that's great. I found a photo of her in the scrapbook that I enlarged, and I agree that she's very pretty. And what type of work did she do at Bissell's?
She worked behind the counter, giving out the prescriptions
Okay.
after the druggist filled them.
And she did do the makeup.
And the makeup,
She did
yes.
the makeup.
Okay.
Did she do some modeling at one point? I think
She
so.
went to modeling school.
Yes, I think she did modeling at one point, yes.
Really?
Yes, very pretty lady.
Wow, that's
Their
great.
house was where the Red Rooster
Rooster is.
restaurant is in
Oh.
town. That's where they lived.
Oh, okay.
How was she related to the other Keelers?
That is a good question. So I know that there were hundreds of Keelers throughout Ridgefield's history. So,
'Cause I live in a Keeler house.
oh, really?
But it was the Matthew Keelers.
Okay. Jack might be the best person to answer that question.
There's too many
There's
Keelers.
too many
Yeah.
Keelers.
Too many different clans of them.
I'm thinking of Helen Keeler Callis.
This Helen Keeler was never married.
Right.
This is not related. I mean, this is not the same.
Right.
No, it's not the same.
A different Keeler, yeah.
Because Pam Allen was a Keeler, and that's a huge family.
She's related to the ones down on that road.
Yeah.
There's the Ridgebury Keelers and the Village Keelers and the South Salem Keelers.
Yeah.
But we could be pretty sure that she goes back to the original Keelers at some point. Right?
There were, I think, two of them, two brothers.
Uh-huh.
But they were basically from Norwalk. Came up from Norwalk.
That's great. So yeah, let's look at her scrapbook a little bit more. So am I looking? So it looks like page 1 maybe starts with Hilltop Dispatch. Do we have that?
Want to start with Hilltop Dispatch? Do you want me to go through all this stuff? 'Cause why don't you start on this page?
Okay.
Class day.
Yeah, that's fine. So what we have here is it looks like Helen saved some program from Ridgefield High School. Does anyone know what class day was?
That's when you had
Like a field day or something?
Yeah, and handed out superlatives.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
And gave gifts to the classes behind you or,
Oh.
you know,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you did?
like somebody's good personality to somebody in the class behind you
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
or somebody's dancing ability to the person in the class behind you. And
Oh, that's interesting.
So that would have had all. Okay.
So that was June, so that was just towards the end of the school year then.
Yeah.
When was the yearbook done? Was that handed out earlier in the year or right at graduation? Right around
Right
graduation.
around
Around
graduation.
before, so everyone could sign it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's hard to read, I'm sorry. Are those class superlatives?
I'm trying to pull it up on here.
And Heston's.
All right, who's up there is gonna have to read that for us?
Okay.
Yeah, Lynn's up there.
It says contestants in order of their appearance.
Okay.
Class
looks
show
like
and
they were-
What does the scroll say up above there? It looks like it's upside down.
It gives their name and then the author, whether they were poems or Invitation, yeah.
I was able to flip it. So it says second annual prize speaking contest for the Rotary Lions Award, sponsored by the junior class. So it sounds like it's another program that's been unfolded and glued in the scrapbook for this event that they had. And some of the names that I see on here are Lois Whitehead, Wayne Hager, Nancy Sheehan, Janet Bedini, Janet Ertman, Lois Sterry, Bill Forbes, Julia Morelli, Jean Carroll, Peter Cummings, Gloria Perini, and Lucille Spicer.
Is that a matchbook cover?
Yeah, 2 matchbook covers, I think, right? People up there?
Looks like it.
Is that Lucille Spitzer?
She was a teacher.
She was a teacher.
She was a teacher. She went and she put on all the thespian plays.
Oh, really?
Yes, Lucille Spicer. What grade? 6th grade? Oh, high school. She was high school.
It starts to say faculty direction.
Yes,
And
and Mr.
Didn't she live in the
Marino.
house near the church?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that is,
Right near
they're
the
trying to
parking
sell.
lot.
Yeah.
And where's the matchbook cover from? Looks like a pizza place.
Pizza place? What's it say? Can't see it.
Oh, the red matchbook looks like it's Ray's Diner, Danbury, Connecticut, phone number 4792. Did anyone ever go to Ray's Diner?
What diner?
Ray's Diner in Danbury?
Never heard of her.
No.
Before,
So maybe it was there for a limited time period.
Sally, you should know it.
We didn't go out to eat.
Well, nobody did that. You're right. You're right. Special occasions.
the Glee Club, and everybody in it.
And the band.
And the band.
Was that a dance, Mardi Gras?
Mardi Gras was the senior, I guess it was.
Was it play?
There's a
Senior
ticket there.
play?
Senior class of Mardi Gras.
May 22nd to 23rd, 1947, and there's a ticket to that. It says it was the Ridgefield High School Auditorium. Admission 60 cents, tax included.
I remember the senior classes used to put on a show. Ours was a minstrel, which you would not be allowed to do today. And there are some pictures of the minstrel in my scrapbook.
There's some tickets to Playland as well, 5 cents.
Right.
That was a big thing to go to.
Oh, now where was Playland?
Ryan, New
Ryan,
York.
New
Right,
York.
right.
Where it is now.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a popular place for Ridgefielders to go?
You went as a class.
Class trip.
Oh, it was a class trip.
You went as a class.
5 cents is a good deal.
The senior classes used to raise money during their 4 years of high school to go to Washington, D.C. at the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah. And
Right.
that was a big occasion.
When did that end?
I think it ended with my mother's class, and I can't remember.
Oh, your mother- not your
Yeah,
mother's
Yeah,
class,
after
'cause we
that,
went.
I think,
I think it ended. I think it ended in '56
Yeah.
because I think my husband's class was '57 and they didn't
Oh,
get to go.
that's
Right.
true. Yeah, his
Was
mommy,
that
we have a
Booker
picture of mommy
Jackson?
at home with it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think, yeah,
he was 57.
Booker Jackson was African American, and I don't think they went because of the white
Hotel.
police, you know,
Ah,
and
Oh,
I
wow.
think they just stopped that.
wow.
So the piece of paper on the lower left, it says the Glee Club, girls, boys, band personnel, 1947. I just saw a Frank Serafilippi under boys. Barbara, you related to Frank?
Yeah. Uncle.
Oh, it's your
Yes.
uncle.
What did he play?
He was in the boys' glee club.
Oh my gosh.
Could he sing, Barb?
Yeah.
Never heard him sing, so never. Oh my
His
God.
widow still lives on South Umstead Lane.
Yes, yes, Natalie, yes.
And he was the town road superintendent and.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
he was in the Glee Club. Yeah, that's a good one.
That was if you didn't want to play an instrument, you had to join something.
Oh yeah, I see him under saxophone too, so he played the saxophone.
A lot of them played instruments. Yeah, that was the big thing. Even my father did.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Peter Frula.
Oh, that was awful.
Peter Frula, the boys with us.
Lynn and I.
Actually, probably a good way for them to get out of class.
I don't know why I remember that.
I'm not sure if they still have a glee club at the high school. Does anyone know? Pete, did they have one during your
They
time?
have a glee club.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They have choir chorus.
They have choir, chorus, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And I can't remember a glee club even going back to the 70s when I was there.
No?
I don't.
Did we have a Glee Club, Sandy?
I don't remember.
We had a Glee Club.
We did?
We had
We
a
had
Glee
it
Club
too.
but
Yeah,
like,
that was in the
Glee Club and
yearbook.
band.
It's kind of crazy how far back.
I
I'll have to look at my yearbook.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember it. That's all I can
We
say.
got some of the last names I
I don't
think
either.
were people from my graduated high school with too.
I know, I think it was an a cappella club.
That's interesting.
Could be.
That was in Wilton.
Do you remember that?
That was in Wilton.
Yeah.
Cass Gilbert Jr., I believe this is the story,
Yeah, it is.
was a bit pixelated and crashed into a hayride that was loaded with kids. And some of the kids were seriously hurt. And I think he was arrested, but, and then there were some big lawsuits afterwards. He was, like his father, an architect, and he's actually the guy who designed the high school auditorium.
Auditorium. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is now the Ridgefield Playhouse. But he didn't live
Where
here.
did that happen?
About 47, someplace in the 40s.
But where, Jack?
Wilton,
Wilton.
yes.
Was it Hayride on Route 7?
It was, I think it was like on 33 or,
Oh, yeah, must be.
it was in, where the church is around that area
Yes.
there.
Oh, okay.
33 down near the
Almost to
center.
the village, yeah.
It was a big deal back then, but he wasn't ever really a resident. He lived in Greenwich and down that way, and but it was a big deal because he was certainly well known in town because of
I
his
guess
parents
so.
living here.
Other things, neighborhood concerts.
What is that?
Jeanette,
Ridgefield concert? Think about that.
Yeah.
yeah. Ridgefield.
Trying to zoom in on that page. Oh, sorry.
You zooming in?
Yeah, I'm zooming in. Oh yeah, it's something that took place in the Ridgefield High School auditorium. Violinist, someone at the piano. Ridgefield Neighborhood Concerts. I'm not sure what that was. Okay. Okay, next page.
Next page.
Yep.
There's
There are the hilltops. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the Hilltop Dispatch was maybe the school newsletter.
Yes.
It was like the school magazine, I would
Yeah.
call it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I could read the proclamation. The wording is hard to read there. It says, "Our time has come now to bring the old ties and say goodbye to Ridgefield High. We'll always cherish in our memories the happy school days now gone by. We will remember our loyal friendships and carry on our motto high. And so to all who helped us on our way, we give our thanks today. We are the class of 47 marching on our way. May our future always be bright. May we ever strive for the right, for honor, fidelity, and friendship. We have always sought, so now we say goodbye for the class of 47. President Bob Carboni, Vice President Jim Lee, Secretary Anna Principe, Treasurer Al Bagatti, Bijadi.
Aldo,
I think the Hilltop
Aldo
Dispatch
be a
came out
job.
4 times a year. Am I
Yeah.
Yeah, we loved it.
See,
Yeah,
right?
Good, yeah.
Came out 4
Yeah.
times a year.
I have quite a few of them at home. Yeah, I love it.
Where was the silent
Mm.
recording?
That's yours.
That's where all the gossip was.
I was silent.
Were you? Oh, you were? Yeah. Well, that was all the gossip.
I got hair
Was all
upset. Don't worry.
About how many were in that class? Anybody know?
In this class, Helen's class?
47?
I don't know.
30.
How many?
30 something.
When I graduated in '54, there were only 37 or 38 in the class.
is this Romeo Petroni's class too?
No, it was 36.
He was
I
47.
don't think Roman, no. That was my father's class, 47.
Oh, really? Where is he?
Where is he?
Allie?
Yep, there he is.
Best figure. Your dad.
Yeah.
There's some funny ones. First to be married, Frank
Frank
Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Was that true? Did that turn out to be
I
true?
don't know.
Mm.
Maybe Buddy Bedini.
I'm guessing that's Frank Lancaster Senior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My father's buddy.
Betsy, can you read some of them to us?
Sure.
It's hard to see.
Favorite band, boys, RHS band, and for girls it was Tex. Can you read that, Steve?
Is it Benke, B-E-N?
Beneke, Tex Beneke.
Yeah.
Beneke.
Oh,
Yeah.
was he?
That was a, like
Big
a
band?
Benny Goodman, big tag band.
Hang out whistles.
Yeah, favorite hangout was Bissell's.
Wow.
So they must have still had their soda fountain.
Great soda fountain.
Favorite song for boys was Huggin' and, what does that say?
Huggin' a Chalkin'?
Huggin' and Shockin'. And then the girls was Mardi Gras. Biggest bluffer, John Rude and June Roydy. Class woman hater, that's really bad,
That's a-
isn't it?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Jim Coonan. Class man hater, Beatrice Scott. B. Scott. Her? Yeah. You know her?
She was a good swimmer.
Most likely to succeed, Jim, Kathy Carroll.
That's Catherine.
Romeo's wife.
Romeo's wife.
Yep.
Aha. Most artistic was Frank Lancaster and Sonia Olson.
Oh, wow.
Most musical was Walter Boyce,
Mm,
yeah,
of course.
and Janie Bloomer.
Mhm.
Most dramatic was Aldo Biagiotti
Oh.
and Janie Bloomer. Class baby, Walter Boyce. Jim Reedy. Class flirt, Bob Keenan and Sonia Olson. Anybody know them? Okay, first to be married was Frank Lancaster and Nancy Keeler. Different Keeler?
It's a sister.
That's the
Oh, the
Barry,
sister.
that's the Barry Avenue
Oh.
killer.
Sam Roy, Russell.
Last to be married was Jim Keenan and Charlotte Rumbaugh. Class clock watcher. Ralph Moser and Kathy Carroll. The, what does this one say? I can't read what that says on this. Stingiest, oh my goodness. Jim O'Keefe and Kathy Carroll. Most attractive, Leslie Piat and Janie Bloomer. Piat of Manaska
Yes,
Lake.
yes.
quietest, Walter Boyce, and Dot Stoley. And best figure, his dad, Allie Hula, and Nancy Keeler. Most pessimistic, Bob Carboni and Kathy Carroll.
She said
Boy,
you're all-
I know,
She
most
got voted for
optimistic was Leslie Piat and June Reedy. There's a couple of these, I don't know when they stopped doing that, but they don't do that anymore, I don't think. No. It's more about hayride, Jack.
Yeah.
No insurance. Huh.
And no insurance.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't,
That was a lot of money.
yeah,
That was a
lot.
lot of
Millions.
money back then, you're right.
That is the hay wagon up there. Driver of the hayride wagon, the hayride wagon.
You noticed
Was
them
struck by the
with their hat?
speeding car, passed
Oh,
over
shit.
Senior.
I think of the past.
Yeah. There's more, there's a big story.
It's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, loving them.
Were they Ridgefielders?
No,
Read the
there's-
names?
Most of them were Wilton, and this is Kenneth Youngquist and Frederick Albers, who are in the same board with Bob Monroe. So they both look like they have broken legs.
They really got hurt.
Yeah.
This must have been like the biggest story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, cause you don't know whether she knew any of these people or.
Yeah, there was one, this one, Lucy Mazzone, they thought they might have to amputate her legs because it was so smashed. They did save it, but it took her 2 years to walk again. Yeah, really a good ride. Okay, there she is. On the road to a modeling career.
Who are the three bets?
Engagements announced. Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Briggs have announced the engagement of their daughter Jeanette to Martin Powell of Westport. And then the one in the middle is Mary Jane Old. And the last one is Mr. and Mrs. William, I can't read that either. 3 engagements, senior class Mardi Gras, Silver Hill.
Does anyone know where Silver Hill was?
Is it the Silver?
Yeah, that's
Silver Hill?
Yeah.
Today?
Silver
Is
Hill.
that the hospital in,
Down south.
New Canaan.
And
New
Silver Hill,
Canaan.
it's like a rehab hospital.
Yeah, that's the rehab place.
Okay.
unless it's Silver Hill Road?
It's a matchbook.
It's a matchbook cover,
Oh,
Jack.
Could it be the Silverline Tavern down there?
It could
could
be.
be.
I think that's what it is,
Maybe.
because the
Yeah,
rehab
I don't
place
think a
would be
rehab
given
would
out.
No, right? Even back then.
Wouldn't be advertised.
Not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Have this on the Conleys, not sure what that is.
Well, the Conleys were Colonel Conley?
Why would you
It
find
looks
that?
like a coaster.
Coaster.
Yeah.
Did they have the inn then?
They didn't call it Conley's.
No, but maybe they put it on their coasters?
No.
No?
Senior class presents Jamie, play, May 14th, 1948. So there's the night ball game, Ridgefield Motors versus Potato Chips of Norwalk. Benefit of the local council of Girl Scouts, June 25th.
So was baseball a popular thing here in Ridgefield? Did any of you go to any of the night ball games?
No, we didn't have lights back then.
Okay.
No.
We had electricity.
Our fields were not lit up. I think the first one was probably the old high school does softball, right? They finally put the lights up there.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Is that a police captain in that picture?
Who's
or-
the state policeman?
William Flynn, elected selectman. He's from Danbury, Trumbull. Must have been a friend. There were a lot of Metropolitan Opera programs. I don't know if that was a school trip.
Yes.
The Boland.
We-
Used to go to the opera?
There was an opera
Yeah,
club.
Miss Boland
Miss
used
Boland, yeah. We used to go once a year to the Met.
Really, that must have been
She
something.
prepared you from the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, we went through, learned what the opera was about,
Wow.
and then we went to the opera.
So that matchbook on the other corner that's upside down, it says Cafe Howard, Connecticut's most popular nightclub, Howard Avenue, Bridgeport. Did anyone ever go there?
Nobody went to
No, nobody went to Bridgeport.
Somebody must have it. It's in this book.
It's
Lucky
upside
we
down.
went to
Back in
Danbury.
1947, you
It
went.
does
Yeah.
have naked ladies.
You didn't go in the 60s.
No, but in the late 40s, it was probably still really prosperous, and after the war, all the
Yes.
industry that was
Right.
down there.
Yeah, that's right.
I can remember my parents talking about dances at the town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, before it was offices.
Is Ridgefield Playhouse a movie house?
60
60 cents.
Yeah, 60
That's
cents.
expensive.
So this is not the current Playhouse, right?
No.
Where was this one located?
Where the
Prospector.
This is
prospect-
where the prospector is.
Okay.
But the federal tax is very high, though.
Yeah, 10 cents.
That's
Yeah, a
Wow.
fifth of it, right?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, 20%.
Is this for the Halloween show?
Probably, Jack. They're a little bit mixed up, so
Oh,
they're not quite. This is the CYO communion breakfast. Remember CYO?
Yes.
Yeah, we remember.
So, this little thing says, fellows I've met here. The first I met, an awful bore. He said he'll like to know me more. Second one, this is not nice. He stuttered so. The third, his face would stop a clock. The fourth, at last. Doesn't say night, that ticket that's ripped, night baseball, must have been in Norwalk then, right? Because
Yes,
we
it
didn't
says
have
potato
baseball.
chips. It's-
No lights.
Quince log cabin.
It's log.
I remember hearing about that.
You do?
Yeah, my parents.
That's
What's
Quint
that?
Carboni?
Yeah, I'm wondering,
Yeah.
does it give an
What's that
an
name?
address or anything on that Quint's Log Cabin?
Yeah, Lynn, what does it say?
South Salem? Yeah, on the right, Lynn, look on the right.
She's trying to
Oh,
read it.
yeah, South Salem, New York, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was Quint Carboni.
What was it, a restaurant?
Restaurant and bar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They-
What was it? Quince
Restaurant.
cabin. I thought it was a
Catering,
restaurant bar.
catering, party.
Never heard anything about it.
There was a log cabin in South Salem, but I never remember it being known as Quint's, but my parents used to go to the log cabin over there.
This is play program, Red Cross.
Lower left is American Junior Red Cross. Did anyone ever participate in the Red Cross here in Ridgefield?
Pat?
I think I did. I remember marching in a parade, I think, with a Red Cross type uniform as a kid.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Maybe that was your passion, why you wanted to become a nurse.
Too many things to
Singing,
become.
that was her father's.
True.
Yeah,
Think
three
it was.
things, teacher,
Exactly.
teacher, nurse, and secretary.
I remember my parents would go, but they didn't call it Quint's, just log cabin. Yeah.
Right, the lower left-hand side. Quince cabin.
There's something there, I can't see it.
Oh, the Quince Cabin. It says Old Ridgefield Highway, South Salem, New York, telephone 975.
What was in the left-hand corner?
Old Ridgefield Highway.
Okay.
What does this say?
He said Old Ridgefield Highway.
That's true, you can.
Old
Companies and uses.
So now, where's the Ridgefield Theater?
Ridgefield Theater.
They called, was that the, movie house?
Isn't that the Prospect?
The Loge?
So if it is, it's 80 cents
I
now.
can't see it.
Maybe it was known
It's
as
a ticket for something called the Ridgefield Theater.
Or it could be the summer theater.
Yeah, Loge.
Maybe explain a little about that for,
Well, it started in the thirties, late thirties. They had a professional summer theater here where you'd have big name actors, just like Summer Stock. It was one of those. And it ended when the war broke out, and it started up again just after the war, but it never lasted very long after that. I guess it was too much competition from Westport and other places, but it was pretty popular before World War II.
Where was it located, Jack?
Before World War II, it was in the Congregational Church House, which was known as the Playhouse then.
Oh.
And after the war, I think they may have used the high school, but I'm not sure. Or maybe the Ridgefield Playhouse on Prospect Street was set up with a stage and could be used.
Yeah, it was, yes.
Did they have bowling there too?
At the congregation
Yeah,
church.
because Mama used to go up there and bowl.
So that ticket was 80 cents. It looks like.
Footlights, nice big.
So that's
Span
for the
Society.
They have federal tax too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it has tax.
It looks like maybe 15 cents. Is that what it said?
yeah.
And then it seemed like the guys are always putting on shows. There's so many
Entertainment.
plays and did a lot of them.
I got rid of that.
It's a show called Miss Jimmy. The junior class in RHS auditorium. I think we have a picture of it. Oh, yeah, there's all the
Graduation cards.
Yeah. So what are those cards on the right?
Yeah, how did that work?
You put them in your invitation or
Right.
program from
To
graduation.
graduation.
Graduated.
And
We
everyone
all
picked out a card and then
We
you
all had that.
swap them and,
You can take out your typeface.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Who printed them, do you remember?
I don't know, I remember ordering loads.
I don't know, there was
Boxes full.
Balfour, that's where we
Really?
used to get the rings from
Right.
Balfour.
I was wondering if it was at the press, because they had a nice little
Oh, I don't
I
know.
don't
printing.
so.
I had my wedding invitations printed
Yeah.
there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
What are these?
You had it
What are
in,
those?
Sally.
I
You
did.
had it in.
Mm.
We have some coasters. Hotel
Unless we did it-
Barnum
Unless we did
in
it through
Bridgeport
school.
is the red one.
Probably, you probably did.
One says what, Guilford, Connecticut?
Yeah, and the other one's Cello Oyster House, Guilford, Connecticut.
I think
Heard of
Guilford.
cello.
Guilford?
Yeah.
Oyster House and the Hotel Barnum in Bridgeport.
Ah,
I wonder if that's still there, probably not.
it's not the museum, is it?
Well, it's got the tents at the top of it. You see? in the
Circus
circus.
tents.
Mm.
Yeah. I wonder when they stopped doing the cards, because they don't do those anymore.
Yeah, what year?
Did you have them?
I did.
We did, I had them too.
Yeah, we had them,
I,
sixties,
Yeah,
Did you have them?
yeah.
no.
Youngster.
Mm.
Sorry.
That is the cover of that book.
Lucky you.
You can see it's falling apart.
See, that's when
Okay.
the classes were small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our class
No.
was 425.
Right,
Yeah.
when my kids
That's-
graduated too, they were huge, the
Yeah.
classes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it was mid-60s when the population just
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, the building.
It
Yeah.
started in '60, it started the,
Yeah.
Down
Like
Gullah,
last
Ridgefield.
summer,
In my
we were 280, my class.
that's what started.
And so it went up to 425 and 75. So that
They used to
doubled.
go down to the airports, to the pilots and offered them mortgages.
Oh, right, to get them here.
To get them to come here.
Like Fort Festates, right?
Francis Smart,
Yeah.
right? That's why we had so many pilots at that one point.
All right, more matchbooks, collected matchbooks.
Yeah, I used to do matchbooks too back when.
I have a big, bowl in my
Yeah.
living room.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Got rid of them now. I mean, I got rid of everything, but I did the same thing.
Mm.
I see.
What's the other matchbook, Stephen?
I could see the inn. Does it say the inn at Ridgefield?
Oh,
So where was that?
West Line.
West Line.
The Benjamin.
Oh, okay. And where was Stonehenge?
Down on
Seven.
Route 7.
Route 7.
No, it's the golf
Golf.
performance.
Used to get many movie stars come there.
That's right.
And it looks like there's, is that a flower that's glued in there?
I would think.
It could be.
Boutonniere,
Yeah.
What?
Toadies?
Yeah,
Walter.
I think it was Toadies.
So the names written next to the flower are Edward Keeler and
Yeah,
Doris.
Walter was in my class.
Doris something.
Doris Ann, that was Helen's
One of
sister.
my sisters. And her father.
Maybe that was her wedding.
No, she got married.
Doris and
Doris Ann got married.
Doris
Yeah.
Young was really attractive.
Yes.
Yeah, she was really attractive.
That's South Carolina.
Another play,
is that cover there, on the right?
almost 18. I like how all the hilltops and the play programs are all drawn
Mm-hmm.
by hand, which is kinda cool. Class artist.
Couldn't afford fancy printing, they're just mimeograph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Colored in.
Hand colored, I think.
That was the senior play. Another play, The Cat and the Canary.
Do you remember that?
You do?
Sort of. I remember the name of it, the cat and the canary.
Where's the class of 47?
See, I was too young then.
38.
Huh?
38.
Yeah.
Oh, 38 people
It was
in the
37.
class?
Wow, they all fit on one small
Yeah.
column.
Amazing.
How many students go to the high school today?
I don't know, they
The
had what,
population has dropped.
yeah, they had about 380, 390 maybe?
Per class?
No, for the whole,
Total?
This year,
Graduation class.
She's
yeah,
Oh, the
Graduation.
graduation.
yeah,
Yeah, it could have been, yeah, probably.
yeah, cause I had three grandkids graduate.
Sandra Peduzzi, Norma Fossey. Ian Principe. Wow. 38 people. Nerve powder. There you go, Jack.
That was in Helen Keeler's book,
Curse of the Cat.
along with tickets. So she must have gone.
Yeah.
So this is for a performance, Curse of the Cat People,
Midnight show.
at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
This was actually an envelope with powder in it.
No?
And it was probably sugar or.
Yeah,
Talcum.
yeah.
No. Because you're supposed to eat it.
Oh.
It might have been flour, but
Oh my gosh.
The courage of Lassie.
Why is the apostrophe
But why is the apostrophe, yeah?
Where?
at the Halloween
For-
midnight show.
Halloween.
Oh, it's
no
even,
additional
evening.
charge either.
Hallow,
Yeah, but you gotta stay.
That's the way Halloween
You gotta stay
is.
till 9 o'clock.
It's All Hallows Eve.
Ah,
Oh, so that's supposed to be EV or something?
EV, the V is left out.
Oh, wow.
Even.
Oh, it's at midnight, yeah, perfect.
Boy, that was a late show.
Yeah. Curse of the cat people.
I don't recognize any of those actors.
No. Simon
It
Simon.
was probably a grade D movie.
is there such a thing?
Courage of Lassie, though, we remember.
Yes. Lassie. 1947. Reading more programs. Tale of the Lonesome Pine. Each Keeler seems quite popular since she started to drive her car to school. These are her Helen Keeler, nickname Edgewise. Favorite singers Bing Crosby, Guy Lombardo. Loves tennis and music. Her wish is to handle a car without knocking fences down.
That's good then.
Good goal.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
That was before driver's ed.
Obviously, she had a few mishaps.
Yeah.
The dramatic director, Miss Burdick, she used to put those. And Dr. O, music. Your father,
Your
Paul.
father,
Stage manager.
Oh.
Alexander.
Wow.
Dorothy Kisbeck.
Yeah, Norma Contessa, Fosse.
Fosse.
Yeah, Aldo. Ed Allen, wow.
Sandra Baduzzi.
Some old names there.
Go home.
Oh, wow, senior prom.
So this, what was this, Jack?
Dance card, it's 42, right?
Yes.
I can't figure out exactly why she had this, but this is in Helen Keeler's book, but it's a dance card from the prom in 1942. And she was, what, class of 47? So maybe it was her sister.
Maybe his sister.
But what's interesting, I mean, do people know what dance cards are, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
We used to have them all.
what's
the time.
interesting is, do you have the subsequent,
I hope so.
the inside? Yeah.
Jack, maybe you
Somebody
should tell us what a dance card is.
Scratched out all the names.
All the names.
And that would have been great to know who the names were.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could probably, if you studied them very carefully,
You could come up with it.
Why the
figure it
question
out.
And some have question
Why
marks.
the question mark?
But it looks like probably first names,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
But if you knew the classes,
Yeah. Since there were
and-
so few.
yeah,
People in
and,
class.
and the classes are listed in the alumni directory, you could probably match the names to people.
So what is the purpose of a dance card?
Well, you boys
keep
were
track.
supposed to
Yeah.
Keep track of.
sign
had-
up for.
You had so many dances,
Yeah.
and, you know,
You just,
somebody would ask you to dance, and they'd sign the card with the name on it.
okay,
That's
that's proof that you
Yeah.
danced with
Yeah.
that person.
Well, or you
Oh,
sign
no.
up in
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like a reserve.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You know, full dance card is like, you know, my dance card is full.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
the
one
most
with the-
popular girls would have their cards full.
Got it.
Yeah.
And to have one with the pencil and still
Right.
attached and everything,
Right, right.
that's a real collectible. Which is why I actually took it out of the album to keep separate, so it would be better preserved.
This is
You
from
have
the
dance cards?
Well, and what, when we used to have the dances with,
Dr. Scandera.
no,
In
no, I'm
sixth
not
grade,
thinking,
but in sixth grade,
Yeah.
when we had that dance, we had dance cards, I remember that.
I can't remember where we had to dance, like one at the church halls or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
So
What's your take on this project? of-
when did dance cards stop being
I
used?
know, when did they? This was 42, so. Maybe when dances kind of. weren't so popular.
Proms were popular, still are, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess this dates back to Victorian times.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
I think so too.
And they wore their card on their wrist.
Yes,
That's right,
yes.
yes, they did, yeah.
Right. Oh,
That's it.
That's it.
Very good.
There's a couple of things I'll just pass around. One thing anyway. That were in here is ration records.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
here's a copy of one of them, if you want to just pass it around. From herself, Helen, and from her father. This one is the original. Edward H. Keeler, Danbury Road, Ridgefield. This was his B supplemental mileage ration, which was for somebody who was above average in need for an automobile during the war. And he being a chauffeur who was probably providing transportation for maybe war workers or whatever, he got a B, and that allowed him to travel more and get more gasoline. But there were also books for Helen. I don't know why she needed, I mean, I guess you needed them for sugar and
Yeah.
certain food
Fats,
things, so.
The ration books, they used to make.
That were in the book, but no stamps. All the stamps had been used.
And this is signed by Evelyn DeForest. I don't know if you
Okay.
remember.
Who worked at the civil defense for
Yes.
many years.
Yes, you did.
In the top floor of the old state police, top floor, right?
I think second to the top. I don't think they
Second.
were in the peak, but
The old state police barracks,
with Henry Rackies. who
now
was
the police
city
department. She had much better handwriting than pass that on. Than Mr. Keeler.
You don't grow, do you?
It's Kathy.
Kathy does?
There's Kathy with tomatoes around.
My hair grows, my glasses. Oh, they're great. They're nothing like home.
Anybody can take the large one too.
Yeah.
That's-
That was the other nice one.
Ration board was down on Valley Avenue, the old
Yes.
garden school.
I think that it says on one of
It says
one of those
Family Avenue.
things.
Yeah.
Family Avenue, yeah.
My father was
With
the
my
girl.
mom there.
They take her to Frank.
Great. Well, as we wrap up today, are there any questions or comments about scrapbooks? I think this was really interesting to see this moment in time that Helen Keeler captured in her scrapbook. And as I mentioned, these are really invaluable for the Historical Society. If anyone out there has any scrapbooks that they'd like to add to our collection, we're always interested in adding more. So please reach out to Betsy if you have anything related to Ridgefield or Ridgefield scrapbooks, and we'll be able to digitize that and add it to the collection, and everyone could access them in our online catalog on our website, ridgefieldhistoricalsociety.org. And you could flip through and examine what's in those scrapbook pages all for yourself. Any final questions or comments or stories you'd like to share about anything that you saw today?
I would just like to say we have some scrapbooks on the table in the conference room if you guys want to look at them before you leave. Ellen's and a few more. Pat brought one in. There's a couple more that we had downstairs. So they're fun to look at.
They're also, the historically speaking, they provide a picture of everyday life of particularly younger people that you might not get anywhere else. The newspapers weren't going to have much about kids back then, and just the things that interested them and what they did and where they went. They're very valuable, and so many of them just get thrown away. It's a shame.
I brought one in that has pictures of the twister that we had in Ridgefield. Yeah. The articles from the Norwalk Hour and the Denver News Times and pictures of
Sometimes
the
those are
twister.
the only places you can find them. Things like the Great Fire of 1895. Most of the papers, the Ridgefield presses are, like disintegrated or destroyed, or but some people save clippings of that, and that's how we can find the first-hand first-hand accounts of many things.
I'm old
Helen
enough.
There's no relatives, right?
Do you think
Who were their
Snuggles
relatives?
did one before she left? How did you get?
Tell us, how did you get this?
Helen's scrapbook?
Because
I
there
got
were-
it on
There weren't any
eBay.
relatives left, were there?
On eBay?
On eBay.
No kidding.
This you got on eBay?
Yeah.
Wow.
So somebody had it.
Snuggles,
No, would've-
Snuggles would have given it
It,
Yeah,
before she left.
That's what I thought.
who was the seller? Do you
Huh?
know?
that I can't remember, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that belonged to what's his name, the guy who was the judge,
Scott?
the guy that Betsy.
Oh, the probate judge?
No, the guy who, the one with the traffic court, or the justice court records that I gave you. We have this guy, he's well known in town, Charles Wade Walker.
Oh, okay.
And a whole bunch of his stuff wound up in Maine, and I think that's where his family was, and I don't know what's happened to his family, but they're now in the hands of a dealer, and he's been auctioning off various things, but one of them was the records of the trial court of Ridgefield, and that was in the days when the lesser crimes, I don't want to put this as a lesser crime, it isn't now, but like beating your wife, those were handled in justice court in the town hall, prosecuted by a local prosecutor, judged by a Ridgefield judge, and all those records, including the names of who was convicted, and sometimes the descriptions of what happened, are in this record book that the Historical Society now has, that we picked up on eBay. And it's fascinating stuff. Could be a little embarrassing to maybe some families, but,
Yeah, one of the scrapbooks that's in there, a guy brought in, he found it in a dumpster.
wow.
So that's another,
Is that the Williams?
Grace Williams.
Yeah. Neat stuff, neat stuff.
Okay, I want to remind you that our next meeting will be on Tuesday, September 17th at 10 o'clock here at the Scott House. We invite all of you to come back next month, and we're going to be talking about the Battle of Ridgefield. And we have a special guest. Our founding president, Keith Jones, is returning to Ridgefield, and he has just published a new book that the Historical Society is selling with him. So we're going to have a conversation with Keith, the premier authority on this really important historical event that took place here in Ridgefield. So bring all your Battle of Ridgefield questions, and we'll be able to talk about if you've heard any stories over the years about Benedict Arnold, if you want those stories verified by Keith, and we could talk about any interesting artifacts that you or your friends or neighbors have discovered in your yards. And actually, if you have any, please bring them to this program, and we'll take a look at them next month. So that's Tuesday, September 17th at 10 o'clock here at the Scott House. And until then, have a great month and stay safe and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.